Here we go. One step at a time, don't be living.
Hey everybody, really glad to be with you this week. Happy New Year. I hope 2013 has started off well for you and yours. It certainly has been an inspiring and interesting year on the activist front, and I wanted today to talk, kind of bring back three issues that were really percolating and happening before I took a little bit of a break. Back now, these three issues are still really on the front burner, and so I thought I wanted to bring you some news from all three. The first, of course, is the Idle No More movement, and this has been an exciting movement to watch develop. Maybe some of you have participated in some of the events here in Toronto. I know I took part in one of the first round dances at Yonge and Dundas. Great feeling of solidarity, great way to express obviously allyship with Indigenous and First Nations people, as well as really taking a message to the Harper government that they really have to change the way they're approaching their negotiations and the relationship with First Nations in this country. And I just want to tell you about a couple of things. Obviously, if you want to keep up with what's going on with Idle No More here in Toronto, as well as right across the country, and in fact internationally, probably the best way to do that is to go onto Facebook. Hopefully you're on Facebook, or you have access to Facebook through someone else, and check out the Idle No More official page, because that's where and join that and like that page and kind of subscribe to it, and that way you'll get updates about different things happening, because of course they do develop just kind of spur of the moment. Things often come up without a lot of notice, so that's the best way to stay in touch with those. Here in Toronto, happening on Friday, of course Friday, January 11th, is the big meeting that Chief Teresa Spence, who's on a hunger strike right now, along with two other elders from the First Nations community. They're in Ottawa. She demanded, of course, a meeting with the Prime Minister and the Governor General, the representative of the Queen, as is totally appropriate, since we're talking about national sovereignty, national issues here, nation to nation. So because of Canada and First Nations relationship to the Crown, obviously the Queen's representative needs to be there. So that's happening tomorrow. Chief Spence has decided not to take part, as you probably know, because the Governor General won't be there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that meeting. And we've got to hope for something more significant and a real change in the way that the Prime Minister and the governing Conservatives approach relationships with First Nations. Remember that this the media is trying to paint this as an Occupy-like kind of movement, and they're going on. You've heard it already, I'm sure, that there's no focus to this movement. What is it that people want? In fact, the spokespeople for Idle No More and the people who have been participating in protests actually have a really good idea and are very clear about what the problems are and what needs to be addressed and what the demands are. And I really encourage you to take a look. You'll find links at the Idle No More page, or you could search Pam Palmater, sorry. She's one of the spokespeople, one of the founders of Idle No More. She's also a professor and chair of Indigenous Studies at Ryerson University. Look her up, because you can find out, you can find lots of talks by her, lots of interviews, lots of writings by her about what this movement is all about. Also, a man named Russell Diabo, D-I-A-B-O, has written lots about what this movement is all about, and as I say, it's very focused and very clear. The last Conservative omnibus bill, chock full of takeaways, of enormous changes to the way that First Nations rights, land rights particularly, treaty rights, many other rights will be dealt with in this country. It's been a unilateral move on the part of the Conservatives. It's been sneaky. It's been very underhanded, in that they've packed a lot of legislation into their budget bill, as they did the last time they introduced a budget. And this budget bill contains really bad news for First Nations, significant changes in their status, in how the government will honor rights. And this is what needs to be talked about. And you can find out more by, as I say, searching out Russell Diabo, Pam Palmater, the Idle No More page. You'll find lots of connections. Anyways, I wanted to tell you, Friday night, January 11th, in solidarity with Chief Spence and in solidarity with First Nations, the Idle No More folks have got an event planned in the north part of Queen's Park. So that's the park that's north of the legislature. There's a big statue there, man on a horse, some white guy on a horse, can't remember his name. But anyways, people are meeting there at 8 p.m. with candles, bring a candle. It's a candlelight vigil, and I believe the intention of the vigil is to walk and march across to where a concert is happening on Friday evening for Idle No More. It's going to be at Revival Bar on College Street, 783 College Street. But as I say, Friday, January 11th, in the evening at 8 p.m. you can meet at the statue in the north part of Queen's Park with a candle and go from there to the concert if you want to. As well, tomorrow at 1 p.m., Friday, January 11th at 1 p.m., people are once again meeting in Dundas Square to conduct a round dance. And you can find all the details about those things on Facebook under Idle No More. And you can also go to www.j11action.com, and we'll put that up on the screen for you. As well, so, keep up on that. We really have a duty to educate ourselves, those of us who are non-Indigenous, educate ourselves about what these issues are, and to stand in allyship, to contact our MPs, to go to the events, to talk to other people about what Idle No More is all about and why this is such an important time and such a really transformative moment here in Canada, and we could see some good things come out of this. So let's keep up that support and keep up that action. I also just wanted to quickly tell you that, of course, the city budget was being considered before we took a break in December. That continues. People have had input, a very brief amount of public input, but nevertheless people have been letting their city councillors, the mayor, such as he is, and others know what they think about the budget. What's really important to know is that this budget, while the city found a fairly big surplus in the last little while, this budget continues to strip away benefits, particularly housing benefits. There are some small increases proposed to community partnership grants, student nutrition, but the group Commitment to Community, you've heard me talk about them before, they are saying that we need more. We need more money for student nutrition programs. We need more money for community organizations like the Toronto Rape Crisis Center, like different kinds of shelters and social services. We need more money there. We need expanded access to recreation. And we really need to address homelessness. As you know, I and many others were involved in a big fight to save the community startup benefit. This was a benefit that went to people on OW and ODSP. It was provided by the province every 2 years to eligible applicants, and it was money that would help people with replacing furniture that got infected by bed bugs, or moving costs if they had to move, or first and last month's rent, so that people could avoid eviction, avoid homelessness. Well, the province decided to cut that. After activism right across this province, really intense activism and lobbying, we saw a real victory. We forced the provincial government to reinstate 2/3 of the cut, and so they've expanded the community, the money that they're transferring. What happened was the province decided to, rather than have the community startup, they've transferred that money, less money, to all of the municipalities across the province. And they're saying to those municipalities, you use that money to alleviate homelessness in whatever ways you see fit. So it's a real cut to people on OW and ODSP, those who can least afford it. We were successful in getting the province to increase the money that they passed on to the cities by 42 million. In Toronto's case, that's $12.3 million in emergency funds for homelessness that we managed to wring out of the province, but it's not enough. We also saw the province give $21 million in bonuses to upper level managers. That $21 million is just about the money that was cut out of housing and homelessness prevention initiatives. So we see where the province's priorities lie. Don't let them fool you. They say they want to balance the budget, but they don't want to balance the budget if it means any kind of difficulty for well-off individuals, well-paid managers, corporations. So they only want to balance the budget on the backs of those who are most vulnerable, and we've seen that with this community startup cut. What's happened in Toronto because of this downloading of responsibility to the city is that the city, because of course the city cannot run a deficit, the city has to balance its budget. The city is proposed a cut of 41,000 shelter bed nights, meaning that there'll be that many fewer beds over those many nights available. And related food costs, they've cut the personal needs allowance, they've cut affordable housing and homeless support. We've got one-time funding, so what we won back was one-time funding for a year, but this is not enough. And commitment to community, and all of us should be demanding that the city not cut any money for homelessness and housing support, and in fact that money has to be found to maintain services at 2012 levels. Commitment to community says it needs to be 27.7 million. The city recently announced that it has a budget surplus from 2012 of 232 million. More than enough can be found to save housing and homelessness support. So listen, you can call or write your counselor to let them know what you think. You can go to the commitmenttocommunity.org webpage. We'll put it up on the screen. Also, Toronto Together is another webpage where you can find information about all of this. We'll put that up on the screen as well for you. And on January 15th, you can go to City Hall, because that's the day that City Council will be debating the budget and looking at all of the staff proposals, the input from the public, and it's always important for us to be there at City Council to let them know that we care about this, that we are watching them. This is a City Council right now that has no leadership whatsoever, since our mayor is in such legal trouble and looks like he may lose his job. We can only hope. And so we need to let them know that the people will lead, that we will be there. It can't just be cops and firefighters there demanding that they not receive any cuts. It has to be folks like you and like me who have to show up to City Council and let them know that we are watching the decisions that they make, and that we have really good ideas about how this city can run in a way that's good for everyone, not just good for the well-off or those with connections. And the last thing I just want to say is, of course, we've got a lot of trouble in our schools. We've got a province that claims to be putting students first with Bill 115. This is bull, and you know it and I know it. Bill 115 is about putting the budget first. It's about putting the people first who they refuse to ask to pay higher taxes. It's putting their ability to reward their high-paid managers first, but it's certainly not about putting students first. And we need to see this. We may not be happy about how this action and how this dispute is affecting the kids, but we need to be really clear that the province is not putting students first. They're putting them last. And they know that when they do these kinds of things that create havoc in our schools, that it's going to have an impact on kids. So don't let them tell you that it's not. Let your MPP know what you think. Thanks.